Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is going to be another Raid Shadow Legends video. Guys, we've got an exciting one today. We are going to see if the myths are true about the new Void Rare. The new Dwarf Void Rare, Kurzad. I am super keen to try him out. I've got to say though, I feel like he's been plugged as this kind of super endgame champion. He's going to defeat all the endgame teams. Watch out for this guy. You'll see him all over the place. I think that's a lie. I think he's an awesome rare. I think he's an awesome rare that if you get him, like early to mid game, he will completely transform your account. Guys, if you've not yet downloaded World War Doe, where have you been? What are you doing? It's actually a really, really fun game. Anyone who downloads this month on my link, it'll be in the pinned comment and the description below, will get in the running to win some raid gems. So I will draw those at the end of the month. All you have to do is get to level 3 and you have to drop me a screenshot in my Discord in the section called World War Doe. So yeah, look, it's a really fun game. You're basically controlling your commander and you're dropping cards to outdo your opponents. I play it on stream sometimes, and I've got to say, it's the game that I go to when I'm not playing Raid in my free time. It's a really fun game. There's added bits and pieces. There's humour in the game. You've got these kind of taunts, these emotes, these dances. When you're on top, you throw them out. When you're behind, you see other people throwing them at you, and it drives you insane. So we're into Season 5 now. There's new cards. There's basically a new meta. I love the fact that they roll the meta around consistently, actually. Since I've been playing it for a couple of months, I think we probably had like 4 serious updates, and each of those updates has completely transformed which cards are on top, which decks you should use. So you're kind of always theory crafting, always using strategy to try and improve your game. It's really cool. So with the addition of commander skins, it actually ups the level of strategy and deck building again. Each commander's got their own sort of special niche ability, and you build a deck around what they can do. So we've got a new one here, the cowboy skin. You can see that he just takes less damage from the enemy commander and from turrets. So what are you waiting for? Download it now. Come and join the fun. Make sure you download on my link, and make sure you send me that screenshot so you can get in the running to win some raid gems. And don't forget, the top 3 pushers from my Hades Minions clubs each month will get 1,000 diamonds. Let's go. In the proper late game, I don't think we'll see him a lot at all. And if you think about who you're up against, right? So if you're talking about who genuinely is like a late game low bob champion, yeah, we're talking about Armiger. And we see Armiger in, all sorts of teams in Doom Tower, Fire Knight, Spiders, proper endgame teams. This cheaty uncommon is getting ahead of epics and legendaries all the time, okay? If we think about a Cold Heart, this cheaty Cold Heart just scoops away up to, not this one with no gear on, but scoops away into teams all the time. She's a proper end game rare, okay? And by that I mean, even an account like mine with bazillion legendaries, she gets in ahead of them on one of my teams, probably 2 of my teams, like consistently, Fire Knights and stuff in Doom Tower. So, that's what he's up against when you're properly saying end game. If you're thinking about epics that have got that same type of quality, then really Madame's up there, Man-Eater's up there. There's only a handful, right, that properly just outdo legendaries that are trying to do the same sort of thing. So is he in that camp? No. For me, he's not. But he's unique. And because he's unique, he will be valuable to your account. So let's go through what he can do. Kurzad Deepheart. He has got a decreased speed A1. Tick. I actually love decreased speed A1 for, boss fights like Fire Knight, for boss fights like Spider, for things like Ice Golem, plenty of the Doom Tower bosses as well. Sorath, so the Dwarf. There's a whole bunch of them where I'm like, yes, A1 decreased speed. It's one of my favourite A1s. You have to, you get attack one enemy, places an extra hit if it's a crit. So you can guarantee yourself 2 hits on an A1, which I like. The extra hit places the decreased speed. That's kind of cool. So you have to crit to get the decreased speed off. Really important to note that. If you don't have 100% crit, you might not get your decreased speed. On his A2, I like this ability as well, by the way. AoE ability, each crit, so again, you get more benefit from the crits, fill your turn meter by 7.5%. So if you're attacking a wave of enemies in the arena, four hits, you're going to get yourself 30% of your turn meter bar back. Generally on waves, you're talking about near enough 40% back. And if you're talking about Spider, maybe, then you could maybe, I don't know, maybe you refill your whole turn meter bar. But like 3/4 of your turn meter bar. So it's actually pretty cool. Free turn cooldown as well is low. So this is a great ability. If you are attacking just a straight up boss, then obviously it's a minor thing. But for Ice Golem, I really like it. And for Spider, I really like it. And for Faction Wars, it's awesome. So yeah, really good A2 actually. A3, so this is why he's unique. He places an increased accuracy buff on your allies. Then he goes. And when he goes, if you book him out, he's got a 100% chance of placing a weak source decreased defense. Now, this is kind of where people are saying, this guy's going to be endgame because you get your increased accuracy up. I kind of disagree. I disagree because if you're endgame, then you can build champions to get your accuracy where you need it. And I don't feel like this rare... I didn't mean to do that. I don't feel like this rare fits those teams well enough. So if you're talking about endgame arena like Plat Arena, are you going to bring him in for a weak source decreased defense? If you do, you build him high accuracy. I kind of get it. Weak source decreased defense. Then you bring your slams over the top. You're pushing increased accuracy to the rest of your team. Quite honestly, if he's going to be the person who does your decreased defense and he's increasing accuracy, all you've really got left to go after that is your damage. So are you going to need it? I don't think you are. I honestly don't. I can't think in my head of a situation unless maybe you're going to throw over the top of that, like a Ray freeze, or you're going to throw over the top of that. I can't even think who else. Maybe Madame goes next and she has an easier time of removing shields and stuff, and he doesn't land his decreased defense. I don't know. I can't see it. However, if you are a mid-game player and you're working your way from like stage 15 to 20 in dungeons, that's where I see this guy giving you some true value. So increase accuracy on those guys. To get to the cap of accuracy you need for dungeons in an earlier game account, you want to be up between 200 and 230 to make sure you land your abilities basically all the time in those dungeons, right? That's quite hard to do if you're earlier game into mid game. This guy will come in, be a weak source decreased defense for you, which is not bad, and also increase your accuracy levels. So your Cold Hearts could be running at 150 accuracy instead of 230 and still get their drop turn meter off. Your Armager could be running at 150. 150 is kind of where you've got to set your sights. So all of a sudden, all of those people out there that don't have the accuracy banners, this guy comes in and gives you a chance. That's where I see this guy playing, and that's where I think you're going to get your best value out of him. Now, I would say, unless you are dripping in books, booking this guy doesn't give you tons of value. More damage, fine, it's nice. It's a nice to have, but it's not essential. More damage, again, it's not essential. You don't improve any of your kit from it. This part improves only if you're going to be using him for a decreased defense champion. If he is straight coming into your team to increase the accuracy of your Cold Hearts, your Tyrells, all that type of stuff, then and you've got someone else who's going to do your decreased defense, then don't book him at all, I would say. Save your books, put your books where the true kind of endgame players are going to get their value. For me, he's not essential to book. If you were going to use him as like an arena master, then you would go absolutely down into Eagle Eye, get his accuracy up, use him as your decreased defense champion, use Law of Steel for speed, and then you'd probably come offensive tree secondary. But I think the vast majority of people are going to run him as a War Master Prockin champion who has got the accuracy tree. That's what I think 99% of people who watch this guide are gonna want to do. So you take your accuracy on this side. You might throw rapid response in to get more turn meter. In fact, You might have even gone Rapid Response and Arcane Celerity to get more turn meter when buffs and debuffs drop off. I definitely would take Laura Steel. I really like Evil Eye on anyone that you're going to build accuracy on because it's just a good turn meter dropper. And I think there's nothing that you gain from Sniper in his kit unless you're not booking him out. You could throw the decreased defense out for an extra turn. It's not a bad idea. And as I say, if you're going for like proper full accuracy build, you go Eagle Eye. But I think for most people, you take the crit rate over here, move himself out of the way for a second, and then you do a kind of standard War Master style build, I think. This is how I would run him. So I'd probably come down like this and just get the War Master procs off when he does some damage. I would get more damage when I got full HP, and I'd get a bit of healing going here as well. I think this is kind of like where I would sit. You might take Kill Streak. He's probably not going to kill that many people. So Spirit Haste, I'd still take Kill Streak, I think. So this is the type of build I would run, but obviously down to you guys how you think you're going to use him. The only place where I can see that he might get some proper endgame use is maybe Doom Tower, where the resistances do jump. Okay, in the waves, you're talking about fighting people with 300 resistance. And, you know, I had my Lydia, for example, built for my clan boss setup, and she actually had 230 accuracy. I had to change her gear around a lot to keep her relevant for my clan boss team, as well as get enough accuracy to land debuffs. So that's where I think he could come in and actually help you. Late game Doom Tower, potentially. That's the only place like late game that I feel like legitimately he could come in and do some work with that accuracy buff. So I am going to book mine just because I've got a billion rare books and I don't have much use for them. But I would say unless he is going to be your like mid-game decreased defense champion, I probably would not advise you throw tons of books into this guy. So we're going to get him booked. I'm going to get him geared, and then we'll take him for a spin. Okay, so we built him out. I've gone for Perception Gear. Perception Gear is great on him because you get your speed and your accuracy together. With some Cruel Gear, nothing really special in terms of what I'm looking for, apart from I want to hit 100% crit rate so that we activate his A1 and his A2. I want some accuracy to land his A3, decreased defense, and I want him to be faster than my other champions. At the moment, he's kind of... Maybe I've got him in an attack percent chest. No, I've got him. He's kind of weak source HP and weak source defense. Makes him quite hard to keep alive and quite hard to give enough stats to make sure that he doesn't die. I'm just thinking here. So I've gone for crit damage amulet because he's got 100% crit rate. But actually looking at it, I kind of need to throw him on HP so that he doesn't become the target of all of the mobs and stuff that we start to face. So I'm going to actually change him up and put him in an HP ring and an HP amulet, just so that he doesn't become the target of all of the pain. Because he won't live. He won't live long enough to deal with it. So 37k is better. It means I've lost a bunch of damage, but I don't feel like that's really what he's going to be in your teams for anyway. So I'm going to pair him with people like a Umbral with only 168 accuracy. So she would be missing a bunch of her stuff. I'm going to pair him with people like a Cold Heart, who I've built just 156 accuracy. So you can see here this build, 74 crit rate is what we need, high crit damage. I see this build a lot, by the way. Probably normally slower than this and probably less accuracy than this, but I see this build a ton where people have gone all out crit damage, but they don't have enough accuracy to land their Heartseeker. And it makes my heart cry every time I see it. So he's going to come in and rectify that poor build, basically. That's his job. So we can show him on something like Spider 20 doing exactly that. So this kind of works. He's going to be our decreased defense champion as well, albeit it's a weak source one. He would also really benefit, I think, from being in a stun set, by the way. He does an AoE on 2 of his abilities. So he does AoE on the A2, does AoE on the A3. Attacks all enemies. So in a stun set, they'll cycle around really quick. So I think potentially it might even be better than how I've got him geared right now. Full on stun set on something like Spider 20 and just keep mashing up those spiderlings for you. And then we bring in someone just to tank for me, like I guess maybe a Doom Priest. Okay, so we've got turn meter, AoE stun, AoE stuns, yeah. And we've got increased accuracy to actually activate the Cold Heart. He's faster than my Cold Heart, so let's see if his A3 is the first thing he does. Hopefully it is. A3 is. So we've got drop defense out. Straight away. So slow it down a bit just so I can see what's going on. We should get the decreased turn meter on yet. Does his A2. Actually hits kind of hard. 37k. It's not a bad hit at all. Considering I've not built him to do damage. Heartseeker does not get resisted because of that increased accuracy. We get decreased speed on with our A1. And I think Doom Priest might actually die with the setup I've got here. But everything he's doing is awesome if you're in this kind of position as a low bob champion, a low bob player. Yeah, so everything he's got going on right now, increasing your accuracy, decreasing the speed of the spider, AoE damage, and boosting his own turn meter because of that. The more I think about it, the more I wish I put him in a stun set. Because I think he would be stunning a ton of these spiderlings all the time. But the main thing is, because of the accuracy buff, the Heartseeker, which has got a poor build to it, is actually working. Bam, Heartseeker, drop turn meter to 0. Now, we lose, okay? We lose. I'm going to change into a stun set right now and see if that same team wins. Okay, so I've just switched him literally full stun gear, kept him at 100% crit rate. We're going to try that same fight again with the same setup and see how much work the stun set does on him. I think it's going to be awesome. I think he's actually going to be probably one of his best sets because of how quickly he rotates those A2 and A3 abilities. So, yes, he does his job with the increased accuracy. Yes, he does the decreased speed and weak source decreased defense. I like all of that stuff. But you see here with a stun set, we've got 2 stuns out right now. First AoE. This one increases his turn meter by a ton. And we've got another 2 stuns out. So he's going to do his A1. Heartseeker lands. We've got increased accuracy up. Got the decreased speed out. I don't know if it was already on from Seal. Could have been. But because of his A2 hitting so many enemies, I think he's actually kind of busted good for, like somebody who's just trying to beat Spider 20 and has got, not the right sort of gear sets to do it. And that's what I mean by, I think he's a great mid-game account champion, like one of the best, but I don't feel like he's properly an end-game champion because you would just have your accuracy sorted by this point as an end-game player. There we go again, stuns going out, increased accuracy is up. And you see how much easier we're dealing with it this time round. Much easier. We're already at half health. And that kind of small tweak. Heartseeker lands. We actually landed it without increased accuracy. We got lucky that time round. But that small tweak of just putting him in stun gear instead of pushing his accuracy through the roof, I think would be massive for anyone who's just trying to work their way through this spider fight. See how much more comfortable we are. Control the spiderlings, guys. It's so much easier. But because he's void as well, he can do the same job in Spider 17, 18, 19. It doesn't matter. So another new champion that I think is great for Spider. Brilliant, especially in a control set. Bam, couple more stuns out. Increase accuracy's out there again. We might still lose Doom Priest one time, potentially. But we can pick her back up with our seal. Bam, again, look at all those stuns going out there. Ton of them going out. So yeah, really, really useful rare. I think more useful for me for like a mid-game account. Much more useful for a mid-game account. But he does kind of step it up when you get into, or step up his end-game viability in somewhere like Doom Tower for sure. So there we go. We won it easily that time round just by that change. He's also done 3.8 million of the damage versus the 5.1 Cold Heart, 2.9 Seal. He hits pretty hard, actually, for a rare champion. So Ice Golem somewhere else where I think he's going to be useful. Same setup, I think, is going to be cool. So we'll go with this style of team. I mean, what's he bringing here? He's going to bring your decreased defense, potentially. We could just run that same sort of setup. He's not going to bring too much other than a small decreased defense for you, which is kind of nice. And obviously increases your accuracy as well. He does a bit of AoE damage. He gets his turn meter back quick. He does a reasonable damage. I like the decreased speed for the boss part of the fight. That's going to be useful. And if I think about other bosses as well, like Dragon, can't put decreased speed on the Dragon. You can use him for the same reason in terms of increasing your accuracy to make sure you land abilities like poisons and stuff like that if you don't have the accuracy on your team. Otherwise, I don't see him in Dragon. I can't, for the waves maybe, give you a little version decreased defense. It's okay. But the only reason I see him come into your team is if you do not have enough accuracy on your champs to do the dungeon work, right? Other than Spider, I think it actually might just be kind of good. And in here, we've got a weak decreased defense out on everyone, which is all right. It put a decreased speed out if it's not already up with his crit, which is guaranteed to land if you're not. And he can't be the wrong affinity for anyone, but he is kind of weak. Look how much of a hit we took there. So he is kind of weak, which is something I'd be concerned about. He's because his defense and HP are so low as a base, he's hard to keep alive. We're going to get the decreased speed out on the boss. It's on for 2 turns as well. 2 turns is nice. Keeps his turn meter nice and low. But he's probably going to be dead now, yeah. Because he just, unless I threw loads more defense on him, he would be dead every time. And because you need crit rate and you need HP, he's actually very difficult to get his defense up as well. So I think you're going to struggle to keep him alive without a seal picking him up or someone else picking him up. He's going to be dead a fair amount in this type of content. But still, decreased speed on the boss, weak version, decreased defense. If you haven't got, other champions that are helping you out with that stuff, it's going to be useful. The Cold Heart here will get a turn meter drop off if she gets a chance to on the boss. If she's not too scared to. Providing that increased accuracy is up. There it is. So she decided to use it on an ad instead of the boss, which is fair enough. It probably would have killed us anyway. But yeah, so Ice Golem and Spider, I think 2 really good dungeons for him. Fire Knights, we do get the decreased speed on the boss and a double hit on the A1. It's kind of nice. And the utility for, again, using someone like a Cold Heart. If she doesn't have the accuracy, he can bring it. So yeah, definitely Fire Knight can be useful if you need that accuracy buff. That's the only really time when you're going to be bringing them in. But still, it's quite a big if. If you do, bring him in for sure, because he's actually going to be cool for that. So let's show him off in an arena fight, I think, next, and see where he's actually going to be able to play in the arena. Why does she not do that on the boss there? Hopefully that's one of the AI fixes they're going to do. Get rid of that. Okay. So, and again, he's done a good share of damage. His damage is actually pretty high. So that's nice. Yeah, as I say, everywhere else, he's kind of got use. I think for Faction Wars, it's not up today, unfortunately, but for the Dwarves, they don't really have solid decreased defense champions. So I think he's going to be pretty good for progression in Faction Wars for most people that play the game. And Dwarf Crypt is probably the hardest faction to beat. So I definitely think he's got some genuine utility there. I'll show Arena, I'll show Doom Tower as well. I just want to say, the biggest challenge I've got with this guy is that he fuses into Ragnar, who I will do a guide on in the next couple of days. I think Ragnar's a really good epic. I think it's a really good epic. And that's the biggest challenge I've got, is that do you give up this fella for Ragnar? And for me, it depends what stage of the game you're at. But I think Ragnar will be in more endgame clan boss teams than Kurzad will be in endgame teams generally, for me. So this is the type of setup that I can see him being played in. Basically going speed lead into him to boost your accuracy up, to go into a control champion who has got low accuracy for what she needs, and then into your nuke. That's what I think will happen for him for most players in the game. Now, it is possible that he could be in an endgame team with the same type of ideas. Speed into him, into someone like a Madame who has got stacked with accuracy, but you need to go above 700-800. You know, that's possible, but I just feel like it's unlikely. So we go bam. Decreased defense everywhere. We've got one stun off as well, which is nice. We've now done a try our provoke, which shouldn't land on most of these guys. But because we've got that increased accuracy, we get 100% provoke off, and then boom, the damage comes in at the end, and we try and do some work. And because they're provoked, we have got a couple of turns to get our job done, and we can drop turn meter here because she's got increased accuracy on as well. Bam, turn meter goes back a bit. Then he comes in with his A2, and he's going to gain 20% of his turn meter bar back again. Because of that A2, we get a stun off as well, which is brilliant. And then we're just kind of like working our way through who we're going to be taking on. Get some poisons out from our Kale, which again shouldn't land. His accuracy is low. They shouldn't land, but they do. And then we just kind of slowly but surely take this team down. So that's where I think he's going to be strongest in the majority of cases. Against this type of team, which, you know, a defensive team, which is kind of like a mid-game setup. We've got another stun off, which is brilliant. And we can just auto that through. Yeah, so look, is he going to be useful in the arena? Yes, he will for a lot of mid-game accounts, but I don't think I see him end-game account very often. So I think the one place where he's truly viable end-game is Doom Tower. So Doom Tower, when you get up to like these level 90 plus, 100 plus, their resistances are kind of like bonkers, right? All of these guys are going to be having, you know, something like 320 odd resistance. It's high. So you need to control them. If you let them have a turn, pretty much they're just going to wipe your team. So, you know, if you're running, you know, kind of like what I'd call a mid to end game team, but you haven't got a ton of legendaries, then he can come in and do a job. But you have to remember, he's really squishy himself. So, you know, he's a bit of a liability. He will die for sure if you don't control them the whole time. So let's just do an AoE here. We're going to go for that increased accuracy. Still in that stun set, so get a stun off for me. Now, this shouldn't land. My Sylar's accuracy is about 220 right now. With the increased accuracy buff, though, we're going up to over 300. So we've got a good chance of decreasing their turn meter and their speed here. See that? Landed on all of them. That shouldn't have landed on one of them. We then got the chance for Seal to bring out the stuns. Bam, she's got it everywhere apart from here. So now we've only really got one person to deal with. I've got turn meter control on the A3 here. Got a weak hit, so it didn't happen. We can get a decreased attack and crit damage out. Now I can either go for boost his turn meter with his A3, or I can actually try and put a decreased speed out. I think I'm going to go for the boost turn meter move. So again, we're just kind of working our way through. We actually got a stun off there as well. That was lucky. We're now going to go decrease accuracy here. Bam, it landed on all of them. It shouldn't have landed on anyone. And you can kind of see where we're going with this. So as long as you are fully in control of what's going on, we've got decreased speed everywhere, then you should be able to fight the hardest level of content. She doesn't have anything on now. We're going to AoE. She's got a stun set anyway. Keep that turn meter down. We get the decreased defense out again. And the accuracy's back up for my team. And then we kind of cycle back through. But, you know, this is hard content. This is tough content right now that we're facing. As soon as these guys get a go, look how hard we get hit. Absolutely cracked in the face with these hits. We get the AoE out again. Bam. Luckily, we got another stun off. Multiple stuns here. And we're just keeping them at bay. So this is where I genuinely think he is good value. I think he's good value here, and he can absolutely do some work for your team. Endgame. This is the only place that I see him properly being played endgame if you are struggling for champions and you really want that boost of accuracy. See how many got resisted there when we didn't have the accuracy up? Basically everyone. So you can see the value that he does bring. So for me, guys, tough decisions around which of these two Void Dwarves you want. Do you keep this rare, who does have a lot of viability, or do you go for the epic that he fuses into? Really tough decision, but he is top tier. Look how, when I lose the reins, look how easy he goes down. Straight down. But yeah, he's quality, he's unique, he's definitely got some viability, but I think his best use is going to be for those earlier game accounts who cannot build the accuracy levels that they need yet. That's for me where he's most use. Anyway, guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think? I've been Hell Hades. I'll catch you soon.